Hello everyone and welcome to this special video. Pandemonia and I are going to go through the cards that have come out yesterday and today, the 28th and 29th of November, as of about quarter to 8 quarter to 8 p.m. South African time. So there's still some other cards that are going to come out in a couple hours, but so far these are the 9-ish cards. Well, I think it's uh, 11 that we have for you. No, 9, 10,
One.
11. Yeah, I think it's 11 cards that we have for you. But yeah, let's start with the first one, which is Geo Sculptor Yip. So Pandemonia as a control warrior player, I'm sure is going to love this card because it's an 8 mana warrior minion. But let's see what it does. It's a legendary minion. Uh, it is an 8 mana 4/8, and it reads at the end of your turn, summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor up to 10. So, you like armor? You like control warrior? What do you think of this?
I looked at it because this obviously already, you're already having visions of what's it, the previous one of Rotface. I want it's one of those legendaries that it doesn't directly impact the board. So, I mean, it doesn't have charge, it doesn't have taunt, which is obviously a major drawback.
Yeah, if you can bring out stuff with taunt, sure, but usually if you have
Yeah,
armor to spare to bring out big minions with taunt, you probably don't need the taunt as much.
uh, yeah. I mean, because it's a case of usually, I mean, like if we just look at raw stats, 8 mana for 4/8 is obviously poor stats by itself. So the first thing I do when I look at these cards, I'm like, okay, how much armor would you need to have for it to be, playable and then for it to be good? And if we have an 8 mana 4/8, I would say you're basically looking for another 4 5 stats, to
Yeah,
make it
sure.
may approximately,
But yeah,
uh,
I mean, you wouldn't realistically play an 8/13 for 8 though, would you? Like, I mean, that just doesn't do anything else. Like,
well, 8 mana 8/13 is pretty just good raw stats.
I suppose.
No, I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying 4 to 5 stats, not a 4 5. I'm saying like
Oh,
basically
okay.
like a three, like I'm saying like a 3 2 or 2 3. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you add
Oh, okay.
a 3 2 makes it a 7 10, which would be for 8 mana. So I'm saying that's
Uh,
the bare minimum is what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is two armors basically. Obviously, what you don't want just one armor. Anything above that is what starts obviously making it good. If you gain 3 4 5 arm, obviously the dream is if you have more than 10 armor, you're getting an 8 mana 4/8 and a random 10 drop.
yeah.
The fact is, it's at the end of turn means it doesn't directly impact the board once again that turn. So this is the kind of card that it may see play in a slower control warrior if that archetype does come back again as a finisher.
Mm,
But for me, I'm just struggling. The problem is it doesn't impact the board soon enough.
y-
That's my thing about it.
yeah, maybe you could play it in some kind of warrior that, like a tempo warrior. Um, if you can bring out something big enough, if you can get ahead on the board, it's a high value card if you've managed to get armor in. Um, but yeah, I mean, it does seem to be something you need to have some kind of big armor to gain turn. Like ideally, you need to gain the armor that turn, right? And the best way to do that is like um, a whirlwind plus armor smith or something on the board.
Or Ironhide.
Yeah, or Ironhide. And then kind of play Geosculptor Yip. So I think Geosculptor Yip. It looks like a no for me. But
I want to believe. Like, I really hope that this card sees play.
yeah, it's gonna take a very, very specific warrior archetype. I don't know what they're doing with these like bad warrior legendaries, right? Rodface is terrible.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. I'll put it. I still.
This has more potential than
Yeah,
Rodface maybe, but
that's what I was gonna say. I think this is definitely better than Rotface, but whether it's good, we will, time will tell.
yeah, the other big problem is the minion it brings out is end of your turn. So whilst
Yeah,
that's like repeatable in the fact that you can get it more than once, the other problem is that you can't do anything with the minion. There's no like summoning Malygos shenanigans or something.
yeah. Unless it lives another turn, is the whole
Yeah.
point.
And then,
Okay,
but
so
yeah, yeah. So Geosculptor, yep, interesting. But definitely going to be looking forward to seeing the warrior weapon legendary. I think that's going to be the interesting part.
yeah,
Um, Speaking of legendary weapons, we have the Warlock one next. It's a 5 mana 0/3 weapon. So for the spell class caster classes, they're all getting those 0 attack weapons. And it reads, at the start of your turn, summon a demon from your hand, and its name is Skull of the Manare. Manari? Yeah,
Minari. I would have said
Manari.
Minari, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it is kind of thematic, having like a fell-infused skull to summon demons. I like that part of it.
Yeah,
Is it good? I mean, this is very much like the last card we saw. It also has a kind of summoning a card every turn. This time it's at the start though. That can definitely
yeah.
help if you're bringing like a Doom Guard or
Yeah,
something
Doom
onto the board.
card is obviously the first card. The
Yeah,
problem though is immediately is with any of these things with like this and even the previous one is when you play it, it does nothing. Like that's the big problem with the Skull of Minari. It's 5 mana, 0/3. You spend 5 mana to do nothing. You're not influencing the board. Hell, this weapon you can't. You're not
yeah,
even likely to be able to kill something with it. So for me, that's kind of a big problem. And therefore, if a deck wants it, it's likely to be a slower deck, right? I mean, an aggro deck doesn't really want to, your more aggressive Zoolock decks don't really want to play 5 mana to do nothing.
yeah, yeah. Like in a way, this one's also like you have to wait until your next turn to get any value out of it. So if they have weapon removal as well, then you lose a lot of value.
Yeah.
So whilst getting a Doom Guard is better at the start of your turn than at the end of your turn, it can also result in you basically getting nothing, and getting nothing is definitely worse than getting something.
Thank you, Dib, for that. Those very wise words.
Yeah, I mean you could get a Void Walker. At least it would have
Yeah,
taunt.
that's the thing as well. It's also the case of summon a demon from your hand, so it's a case of which demons are you playing. I mean, if you get
So
obviously some of them with the crazy discard effects, like Lakari Firehound, is obviously
yes,
pretty
yes.
good.
I think
Uh,
that's the first thing that really sticks out to me is that getting the ones with the negative battle cries and the fact that they have the discard effects is super powerful.
or the
Um,
expensive ones.
yeah. Do you think this is actually just better than completing the Warlock quest though?
I mean, it might be. I mean, you have it's got potential. I mean, if you
I mean,
summon, let's say
the
that
the
new
low
Void
end
one,
is yeah, the low end is basically Void Walker, right?
yeah, and Flame Imp, those are
Yeah,
your
and Flame
two.
Imp. But I mean,
Oh, Blood Imp. I
Flame
mean,
Imp.
if you run your Blood
Oh
Imp.
yeah, okay, Blood Imp. You're right. I was gonna say because like Flame Imp is what you get from the Warlock quest, and
Yeah,
obviously the Warlock quest there's no way to interact with it. Whereas this you can destroy with weapon removal. But
exactly.
ultimately, like if you're getting a couple turns minions from this, maybe it's playable in like some kind of Demon Zoo for like a value engine. I mean, we even see Gul'dan played in those decks.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you meet the main idea of this is you want to obviously cheat out your 5+. For it to be, for it to be good, you want to
Yeah.
ideally get like Doom Guard or what's that new one that we discussed the other day, that 9 mana 3/9. Like those are
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
obviously,
The
I
new
mean, that's obviously a
legendaries.
really good target for it, to get that out on turn
Yeah,
6
yeah,
potentially, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
obviously the dream. But now it's a case of how consistent and are you alive by that point?
yeah,
That's,
yeah. I think it's definitely going to be an issue. It does seem a little bit slow, but maybe if they print a few other bigger demons, like we need to run the numbers and figure out exactly what the stats of the demons are. But with them printing some of the bigger new demons like Void Lord, the one that we discussed on the
yeah.
last
No,
episode of
but just remember, this
Animators,
comes from
that
your
could definitely
hand,
help.
though, so you have to have it in hand, right? So
Oh, right. Okay. I was totally
that's why I'm very
misinterpreting.
confused that you're
I
talking
was
about
thinking
stats.
I was thinking this actually gives you like summons them out of nowhere. Right. I'm
No,
completely misinterpreting this.
no,
Yeah, I think from your hand is awkward because summon will also will that won't proc the battle cry if they come from your hand.
yeah. Well, that's exactly what we're
Which is
saying.
exactly why getting the demons out is maybe good. I mean, okay, what's good is you can ensure that this gives you good demons then, because your flame imps and stuff you played, so you only have maybe your Lakari Fellhounds and Doom Guards left,
Yeah,
and like your Void Lord and Cruel, those kind of things.
yeah.
If you're
So
playing like a singleton version of it.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's the thing. But I think for me it boils down to turn 5. You're doing nothing. Is that drawback enough of it to make the card bad, or
Yeah.
is the card still good enough to be C play over that?
Yeah, I think the fact that this one is start of turn versus end of turn is definitely a detriment to it.
Yeah,
Because it's from your hand, you could guarantee you cheat out that big demon. Like in Wild, you cheat out your Morganis.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
That.
Yeah, I'm not so sold on it, but it's definitely an interesting concept, as they're definitely trying to push that demon archetype for Warlock.
Yeah.
Uh,
So next card.
yeah, so moving on, we have Unstable Evolution. This is a shaman spell. It is 1 mana, it's an epic, and it reads Transform a friendly minion into one that costs 1 more, repeatable this turn. So I was quite confused when I first read this. I was like, repeatable this turn, how exactly? Um, but the way it seems to work is that it gets put in your hand, and you can cast the spell again on that specific minion, right?
Not any minion.
On any
Transform a
minion.
friendly minion. Yeah. It's basically it's like evolve, obviously in the way, but literally you get to
Oh,
target. You keep
I
casting
thought.
it as long as you have mana.
Oh, okay.
So that's why the Reddit and the
Wow,
internet has really
different.
gone wild because potentially turn one, if you play, let's say, Bloodsail Corsair with patches, and you then,
But the,
let's say, and then you're calling out, evolve one of them into a Sorcerer's Apprentice or an Elemental, you can infinitely evolve the other one, like up to 10 mana on turn one.
oh, okay. So the other unstable evolution that it puts in your hand is a 1 mana cost spell.
I'm assuming so.
Oh, okay. I
So
I thought it put like some 0 mana cost spell in your hand that you would be able to use.
I think, from what I understand, basically you get the same spell in your hand again and again, and then so obviously if you can roll, if
But
you
at
roll
the end of
source
your turn, it leaves your hand.
disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are potential for some shenanigans. This card with Evolve rotating out, this card possibly could keep it, like a deck like Evolve Shaman alive.
Yeah.
Uh, but we'll see. I mean, this is obviously there are some combos with it, but overall it's probably going to be worse than Evolve because Evolve does your whole board. This does, one. Don't know. Does it
Yeah.
make?
Like it definitely seems like it doesn't work as well with the current ways we see Evolve being used alongside cards like um, Doppelgangster or even Saturday Chain Gang, right? It's more of like
Yeah.
this is like a card that fixes your Evolve if you mess it up.
Well, yeah. Evolve Shaman. I mean, Doppelgangster is also rotating out next year. So there'll be a short period of time where all of these cards are together. So it will be very interesting to see if that kind of puts Evolve Shaman back, on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay. It's definitely gonna be an interesting card to see exactly how it pans out, but
yeah,
I'm not sure it's gonna be good enough to be paying 1 mana every time to evolve, basically.
yeah.
Okay. So moving on, we have Leyline Manipulator. So this is a 4 mana 4/5 elemental. So it's an elemental yeti. It's a rare and it has a battle cry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. So uh, this is obviously trying to push Elemental Mage. This seems like a pretty strong card to push Elemental Mage. The
Yeah.
kind of cards we're looking at that you're going to have in your hand, anything you get from a Primordial Glyph. If you're playing Steam Surger and you get the Flame Geyser from that.
Oh right,
Anything
yes.
you get from like the Tome or the new
Or Babbling Book.
well, I was going to say the new Spellstone for
Yeah, it's
Mage, which is
Spellstone.
based on
Yeah.
playing elementals. It also reads any card, not any spell. So any flame elementals you have in your hand, from Fireflies or
Oh
Ignis
yeah.
elementals, those will also be free. Um,
Your
Also,
coin gets reduced.
any spells, well, not free, sorry. Well, they will be free because they get reduced by 2. Yeah, your coin gets reduced in case they have a Nerubian Unraveler on the board. Um, haha. But I was also gonna say any cards you get from Simulacrum.
Oh yeah.
So if you Simulacrum, I think if you Simulacrum something, even though you're copying the card that did start on your deck, you will get a reduction on that. So let's say you Simulacrum your Syndragosa. I don't know how that happens because you have to not have Leyline Manipulator in your hand. Or let's say even on turn 6, you could go like, if you'd Simulacrum before, you can play Leyline Manipulator into Leyline Manipulator.
Yeah. Like this
I,
card just like it strikes me as being the question though is so if you play an elemental deck, obviously it goes into it. But now the question is, does this ever find a place in Quest Mage? That is sort of my like
I
what I'm
don't
on.
think it's good enough for quest mage. It doesn't actually get you towards completing the quest. Making cards cheaper doesn't really help, and you're not actually adding any cards. So I think this is 100% no for quest mage. I don't think there's any way this is any good in quest mage, unless you played some kind of elemental mage that just happened to complete the quest, but not the OTK Exodia kind of mage.
Right.
I think the biggest problem with this card is that it's 4 mana. And
Yeah.
4 mana is pretty much where all the best elementals are for mage anyway. Water
Yeah.
elemental, steam surger, those are that's like really the best slot. So I think if this had been 3 mana 3/4, it would have been a lot better because your
Yeah.
curve would have been better. Your curve going into your turn 4. So like I think that's the biggest problem with it is that it contests that 4 spot so heavily, and I'm also not sure um, that elemental mage really needs the kind of value this gives you. It's not even value. It's like it's like future tempo, right?
Yeah. Well, it's potential shenanigans with glyph though, right? I mean, like
Sure.
glyph. I mean, you glyph something. Glyph reduces it by 2 already. Then
Yeah,
this reduces by an
you
additional
glyph
2.
flame strike and you have a 3 mana flame strike.
Yeah. Or you glyph Islands Portal for a while, or you glyph
Yeah.
Pyroblast, and you have a 6 mana Pyroblast.
Yeah.
I really like. I think this is a very
I,
powerful card.
Definitely. I completely agree. I think it's like without going overboard, it's almost the Draconid operative of mage elementals. That's kind of
Yeah.
how I see it. Like they're trying to push the archetype. This is the powerful card they're printing. That's powerful on curve and has a good effect. But whether that effect is good enough, I think a lot of the time you're just going to be reducing flame elementals. Like,
I I really miss my golden yetis.
yeah. So I think this card could be pretty good. I just think that I'm not sure this kind of an elemental mage is any good, right? I
Yeah.
think elemental mage still definitely looks like a control mage at the
Yeah.
moment.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now onto one of my favorite cards, which unsurprisingly is a rogue card, and it is evasion. So evasion, classically a very rogue thing, and this is a rogue secret. So for those who don't know, rogues are getting secrets. If you want to find out about the other secrets, go back and watch Magma Rage's episode 39, which was on released on Monday, 2 days ago basically. We covered the other secrets there. Evasion, 2 mana secret. This one's epic, and it reads: after your hero takes damage, become immune this turn. So basically, after you get hit by something, you can't be damaged afterwards for the rest of your turn, which is a pretty powerful effect for Rogue, which is a class that at the moment really struggles to actually protect itself. No real healing. You pretty much just have uh, the neutral taunts, your Tar Creepers, Saronite Chain Gangs, Lich King, stuff like that. Um, so it is a card that's pretty good there. But what I think is most important about Evasion is the way that it synergizes with Sudden Betrayal. Um, what's super important for secrets, and especially for Rogue, who only has 3 secrets now, is that the secrets have to make it difficult for you to play around them. So when you're playing around evasion, you need to be playing into another secret so that life becomes difficult. Otherwise, if let's say only one of the secrets is viable, or if all of the secrets can be played around in the same way, then that doesn't make life difficult for your opponent, which is half the value of secrets, basically.
Yeah. I
Is
mean, it's like, for example, why if you look at the Mage secrets, why cards like, Frozen Clone, Potion of Polymorph, and Mirror Entity aren't that good, together because you play around them all in the same way by playing your weakest minion.
Yeah.
So whereas like you're saying, so evasion, the fact that after you take damage becomes immune means it tries to insensitivize. It tries and makes you want to play or attack with your opponent with a big minion
Yeah.
to deal more damage. Whereas the other one, what's it?
Sudden
The
betrayal.
betrayal encourages you to attack with a smaller minion because it will deal damage to
Yeah.
its neighbor.
Yeah, it causes it to attack one of its neighbors. So I think evasion and sudden betrayal really synergize quite well with each other there. Whereas like the last one, uh, well, I forgot its name now. Basically, the getaway coder of
The
Rogue
shadow
Secrets.
step.
Yeah, yeah. That one kind of I think is a little bit more self-sustaining in that it does pretty well on its own. Um,
Yeah.
Cheat Death, that's what it's called. Sorry. That one just returns it to your hand, turns them friendly minion to hand. So what's also important is you've got the ones that are about attacking the hero and ones that are about attacking minions. So trading against rogue becomes more difficult. When do you trade? When do you go face? And now, importantly, we have two that discourage you from going face, which is important for the slower rogues, like your miracle rogues. Which is, with the secrets being 2 mana, they're not going to really see play in Keleseth decks. So it could be in your Miracle Rogues where we could see the secrets being seeing
Control
play.
rogue.
I'm not sure I would necessarily call it Control Rogue, but the secrets, you can prep them out, especially if you have a Gadget Stand. If you play Gadget Stand Prep Secret, that's a pretty decent turn because they're
Yeah.
recycling. And also just more spells kind of help with Arcane Giants. So you could play like the secrets in place of cards like Hallucination. Honestly, that's a pretty easy card to cut from Rogue, I think. Um, that's if they actually get any value. But I think you need to be able to play at least two of the secrets, which means you're probably playing three secrets at most. So like two of one and one of the other, or something like that, or one
Yeah.
of each even. But yeah, I really like evasion.
But it'll be interesting though to see how the meta changes because especially there's a lot of speculation that Ice Block is rotating soon. So I
Yeah.
mean it's been almost confirmed but not that Ice Block is going to Hall of Fame. I mean
Yeah.
they just haven't officially said it, but it's pretty much almost guaranteed, I think. So
Yeah.
this will
Yeah.
be the only card that really gives, well, this and Valera. So it will be two road cards that have that potential to, buy extra turns. It'll be interesting to see if any decks come of that as a result.
Yeah. It's definitely something that could well happen. If you kind of get some kind of a freeze rogue essentially, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like maybe it could be some kind of Malygos rogue. The difference with evasion and ice block is evasion doesn't really block that first damage that could be lethal. So if
it's
they
still
can
not.
get you low enough, they can still kind of kill you with that. Yeah.
So the way that basically both the only real way you play around both secrets at the same time is to attack with one large is basically you don't have any other minions and you
Yeah.
just attack with one large minion. That's like the way that plays around both secrets, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is both these secrets are quite good against Bone Mare, which is quite a popular card. But anyway,
No,
moving on. Do you want to tell our viewers about the next one now? Furbolg, Mossbinder.
so it's a neutral 5 mana 1/1 with battle cry. Transform a friendly minion into a 6/6 elemental. And so what this is, it transforms. The fact that it can only transform a friendly minion means that
Yeah.
it's. Uh, I really am struggling to see how. I mean, obviously the dream is you transform one of your weak 1/1s,
Yeah,
or
or
you
something that's left with 1 HP. But like the big question is, how much of a stat upgrade are you actually getting when you cast this?
playing a 5 mana 1/1.
Yeah, exactly. So theoretically, if you upgraded a 0/1, right? Let's say you kept Blood Imp on the board as
Yeah,
Zoo, right? Um, Now, if you upgrade a 0/1, you're getting five, sorry, 6/5 stats from this,
yeah,
and then you're getting 6/5 stats from the battle cry and a further 1/1 from the base effect.
yeah.
So then you're paying 5 mana for 7
7/6,
7/6.
which is not bad. Which is which
It's
is
not
which is
bad,
decent.
but
Um,
the minion that's on the board can't attack because it's been transformed. It's not like
yeah,
it can attack. It's not like you're buffing it. You know, one of the biggest things about Bone Mare is that you're buffing a minion that can actually make trades right then and there. And Furbolg
yeah,
Mossbinder really, really misses that mark. I
yeah.
just,
Basically, you have to trade and then heal. Basically, it's more like a kind of a pseudo evolve in a way,
yeah,
more than
it
a bone
is.
mare kind of buff. It's the fact that transforms it. I don't. Also, obviously, this is a kind of a nerf to cards. Like obviously, Finance Portal's rotating soon, but it's basically a nerf to because this is a
Evolve
5 times
base cards.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
also evolve base cards.
evolve based cards. Yeah,
But yeah,
uh,
or like
5 mana 1/1.
yeah, any decks that actually play 5 mana spells that also play like Medivh, for instance.
Yeah.
So like Nourish Medivh is slightly weaker, but yeah.
Uh,
Evolving Saronite Chain Gangs can definitely go very badly right now.
yeah, I don't like this card. I mean, it's a kind of card that might be good in arena. I mean, because
Ah,
but I don't know.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on to another warrior card, and this is one I think you will like. We have Unidentified Shield. Unidentified Shield is the unidentified card for warrior, as you might expect. It's a common, it's a spell, and it reads gain 5 armor, and it gains a bonus effect when it enters your hand. So when you draw the card, you'll get one of these 4 effects. There's no choice in this. Either it becomes Tower Shield plus 10, which just gives you 10 more armor, so that's 6 mana, 15 armor. Serrated Shield, which is 6 mana. Well, they're all the same cost, sorry. And it gains 5 armor and deals 5 damage, so basically just adds damage. It becomes a Holy Fire, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, Runed Shield, which is allows you to summon a 5/5 as a additional thing to gaining the 5 armor, so it becomes Shield Maiden. Spiked Shield, which is gain or you equip a 5/2 weapon at the same time, so it comes with the free Arcanite. It's Arcanite Reaper plus
Ironhide.
Ironhide, yeah, in that scenario. So, I mean, what do you think about this? Like,
Okay, I'm obviously a little biased because I've always been a little more inclined towards more controlling warrior decks. I really must say I like this card a lot. Like, even though, we've looked at the other identifier cards and we always say, oh, the unpredictability of it. For me, I look at each of these effects and I'm like, majority of the time, no matter what the situation, I'm usually not too sad to see any of these.
yeah,
Uh, the one probably that you're probably least likely to want most of the times is probably Tower Shield, to be honest, because just
yeah,
get spending 6 minutes to just gain 15 armor, not always what you want to do. But the rest of them, I don't mind them because they all impact immediately. With Serrated Shield, you're dealing 5 damage, so you're clearing a threat most likely. Rune Shield, you gain the armor you're developing, so like you say, Shield Maiden.
yeah.
Spiked Shield, you're gaining their armor as well as a weapon of clearing it, so you're affecting the board immediately. So for me, the reason I like it is because 3 of these 4 options impact the board quite significantly immediately. So I really like this card, and I really want Control Warrior to come back.
Yeah, I definitely think this card could have a very positive effect on Control Warrior. I think what's also important is that you get to see what it is when you draw it, and then when you can make the decision about when you
Yeah,
use it, right? Uh, it's not like only when you if it was only when you cast it, you then got to it got identified. It would be really
okay.
weak. That would be terrible.
Yeah, it'd
But
be horrible.
the fact is, you kind of know what it is. The only thing that's a bit difficult is you can't plan. So sometimes you will want like Tower Shield, but you can't actually like plan to get it. Let's say in like some fatiguey Control Warrior mirror.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, Spiked Shield I think is also a little bit weak because a lot of the time Serrated Shield is just better than Spiked Shield
yeah.
because if you're attacking into a minion with that 5 weapon, that's basically negating the armor effect. Um,
So you get 2 charges, right? So
yeah, but you
it's
get the second charge. That's the big difference there. It's like 6 mana, deal 5 damage, equip a 5/1 weapon most of
yeah,
the time, right?
yeah.
That's
I
ki-
love
that's
it
kind
pretty
of how you look
much.
at it.
Yeah. So, but like I say, compared to like of all the unidentified cards spoiled so far, I must say I like this one the most. I think it's the most
Sure.
powerful. Even though I'm obviously a bit biased, I think objectively, I think without a doubt, this is compared to the priest one and what's the other one we've seen, the paladin weapon.
Yeah, unidentified mole.
Yeah, so I definitely think this seems to be the strongest. And we'll see. I mean, the
Yeah.
6 drop of warrior has, I think, also, if I'm correct, has been lacking for a bit. There hasn't, no
Yeah.
Justifier, no Shield Maiden, no Sylvanas anymore.
Yeah. The only thing is, if you do get the weapon, sometimes it's awkward. You can't follow it up with like a gore howl. But I mean, most of the time you're fine. I agree. Like this is generally a pretty good result for the warrior, so I think it's pretty good.
And
At 6 mana,
Shield,
it is awkward that you also can't combine it with like brawl. But yeah.
yeah. Tower Shield, just for your combine, synergizes with Yip with the
Yeah, it does. It does synergize. You can curve Tower Shield into Coin Yip.
yep.
But no.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Next we have a Mage card, one that I don't think you like quite as much. It is not just a card; it's a whole deck. It's a deck of wonders. It is a 5 mana epic Mage spell, and it reads:
Uh,
shuffle 5 scrolls into your deck. When drawn, cast a random spell. and each scroll is it's also 5 mana, not that that matters. And you cast a random spell, draw a card, cast this when drawn. Actually, the fact that it costs 5 mana does matter, but that's not the point.
But they play
We'll
for
we'll
free
get to
though.
yeah no, but for that joust, the Raven that
Oh
jousts
yes.
based on spells in your
Oh
deck,
right.
yeah, it
Yes.
actually does matter for this.
Oh.
Yeah. Uh, so if Scroll of Wonder was 10 mana, it would actually be better. Anyway, that's not the point. Um, so Scroll of Wonder, cast a random spell, draw a card when this is cast. So when this is drawn, sorry. So basically, it does much like Ambush, except you don't know what you're getting. You're not getting a 4/4 guaranteed. You're just doing a random spell, which would have random targets, I believe.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
No.
quite sold on it. I mean, the problem also is, once again, with like some of these cards, you're spending 5 mana to do nothing.
Yep.
And so, I mean, obviously you disagree with me, but I was comparing this to Kabbalah's Tomb in the fact that you also spend 5 mana to do nothing. But for Kabbalah's Tomb, you at least still have the option of when to play those spells and at the targets. You know, and obviously you have to invest the mana. Whereas this, those spells could, I mean, like we're even joking if this goes into, Exodia Mage, and the turn that you're about to go off of your extra turn, you get one of these and it clears your apprentices.
Yeah,
You
yeah. Yeah, I just think like even in Exodia Mage, like we kind of discussed a little bit beforehand, it doesn't really even work with like completing the quest really, because first of all I don't know if when Scroll of Wonder casts the spell it even counts for the quest, but even if it does, the problem is that you can't do that turn very often than Quest Mage does, where it plays the uh, the tome and actually casts the spells in that same turn when it has the Sorcerer's Apprentice on the board to finish the quest. So that's definitely a big detriment as well.
these cast random spells can pick, if I'm correct, they can pick spells from any class. Is that correct? So you could like discard your hand and things. Like things can go horribly wrong.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You could play Cataclysm.
Exactly, or even Soulfire, or cards, and then all of a sudden you discard important cards. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's restricted to mage spells. So
Oh, yeah, that's no thank you. Let us move on before we dive too deep into all the
fun
ridiculousness. So this is actually 3 Warlock cards that were revealed at the same time. Um,
by Toast.
yeah, by Disguised Toast because Blizzard love him way too much. So he got 3 cards, whereas everyone else just gets 1.
Yeah,
Okay, Blizzard. Anyway, so uh, the first let's deal with the Spellstone. This is the Lesser Amethyst Spellstone, uh, and its first version, it's 4 mana all the way through. It's rare, and it has Lifesteal, and it deals 3 damage to a minion. That's the first version. To upgrade it, you have to take damage from cards, from your cards to upgrade. So like Flame Imp,
yeah.
think that kind of effect, Pit Lord, those kind
Well,
of
the other
things.
two cards we're going to be talking about just now.
Yes, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
And then the upgraded version, the
normal version.
Goldilocks porridge version, uh, deal 5 damage to a minion. It still has lifesteal. And the ultimate version, the greater spellstone, is deal 7 damage to a minion, and once again still has lifesteal. So the idea here is damage yourself with minions, and then um, you can heal them up as you heal yourself up again as you remove. I like the idea. Do you want to just quickly actually look at these 2 minions before we kind of discuss the card and how viable it's going to be? Because
Yeah.
it's never going to be viable in its base form. It's going to require at least 1
Yes.
or 2 upgrades. So how you're going to upgrade it is Flame Imp right now. That's one of
Yeah.
the main ways. And then another 1 drop here is Cobalt Librarian.
I think
This
that
is
card is
a
disgusting.
1 mana 2/1. It is a common minion and it has Battle Cry, draw a card, deal 2 damage to your hero. So it's kind of like Flame Imp except weaker and it cycles.
Yeah.
It just seems like a really good card for Zoo to me, to be quite
Yeah, it
honest. Like,
seems really powerful.
regardless of the Spellstone, it just seems like a good card. Like, it's just a 1 drop I'd put in my Zoo deck.
Yeah, it draws a card, it replaces itself, it contests the board. I
It
mean, it
basically costs
mirrors.
your hero power for free. It's a 1 mana 2/1 that costs your hero power.
That's true, and yeah, you get a
And,
2/1 out of it.
and you can still do your hero power again.
Yeah, I think this card is like bonk. Like I
I
really
don't know
think
about
this.
bonkers, but like
I think it's pretty
it's
good.
relatively an easy slot in for Zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if we look at the next card, I don't know if we're going to go on to that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So next we have Vulgar Homunculus. It's a 2 mana, 2/4 demon. It has Taunt, it's a common, and it also has Battle Cry, deal 2 damage to a hero. So this is a much more defensive card compared to something like Flame Imp, but it's also overstatted like Flame Imp, and its downside is just the deal 2 damage to a hero. But a 2 mana, 2/4 with Taunt seems really good, especially as a demon. Once again,
Yeah.
that just strikes me as yes for Zoo, great with what we're seeing in Zoo at the moment, which is the Blood Reaver Gul'dan Zoo decks. This is an amazing card to get back from Blood Reaver Gul'dan
Yeah.
because it has Taunt, and that like the Void Walkers are often very important to get back, and this is just a bigger Void Walker.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
synergizes with cards like Crystal Weaver as well because it's a demon.
And Blood Fury Potion.
Yeah, and Blood Fury Potion, which is on curve for this as well, which is
Yeah.
pretty nuts. Like this mid-range like Demon Zoo, like looks pretty good. I mean, and Kobold Librarian works well for both. And this is kind of where looking at the Amethyst Spellstone by itself, I'm kind of like meh. Once you look at it in the context of these two cards and Flame Imp, you're kind of like, yeah, okay, this is probably pretty good, right? Zoo kind of lacks removal, and it's not difficult to at least get the Spellstone up to 5. You only have to take damage from one minion,
Yeah.
or from
No,
one
that's
of
what
your cards.
I mean. That's what I'm saying. Is so basically lesser is almost unplayable. It's basically a bad drain soul, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we don't need to really talk much about it. Then when you move on to the like what's it, the moderate, the normal version, which deals 5 damage, that clears your medium threats. I mean, it's
it's not
very
on
similar.
curve, which is actually it could well be on curve because
Yeah.
all of the ways that you upgrade it are below curve. So if it starts in
Yeah.
your hand, it could be on curve. If it's on curve, it's bonkers. Like,
You kill in
um,
most mid-sized threats, and I mean,
yeah,
obviously I mean, the greater is basically killing nearly most minions. Like, there's not that many things it's not killing, and so
yeah,
I mean, judging just from these two, I mean, what like you say, Liberian, Homunculus, as well as Flame Imp, I don't think it's too difficult to basically guarantee the normal spellstone, and very often you're gonna have the greater by the time you can cast it, which is obviously crazy. You
yeah.
know,
It's just
deal 7 damage, gain 7 life.
yeah. It's a very weak top deck. Um, but
Yeah,
that's the thing. If you do have it in your hand, it's not difficult to upgrade with at least 6 ways to upgrade it, basically.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, and a lot of those ways you would put in your, like you say, you would put in your deck anyway. So it's not like you
Yeah,
forfeiting,
yeah.
good
I mean, this is
cards.
helping to make up for a deck where you want to put Kobold Librarian, Volga Homunculus, and Flame Imp in the same deck. At
Yeah,
some point, putting all the cards that damage yourself become a little bit too much. Whereas the Spellstone, because of the lifesteal, helps make up for that, and that's just massive. So basically, the more you damage yourself, the better your Spellstone gets, and the more it rewards you for damaging yourself the more it deals with the fact that you damaged yourself because it heals you. So
I,
I think that these cards for Warlock are looking really good,
yes,
and I think that uh, Warlock could be pretty good, and especially outside of the discard shell. Thank goodness, because after seeing Cataclysm, it looked like they were gonna revolve things around discard again, and that was please no. Just please don't let. Oh, we're releasing the weapon. The weapon is not discard based. Okay, good.
it's demon based.
Yeah, we know that neither of the legendaries are discard based. Only Cataclysm is currently supporting the discard mechanic.
Yeah. So also interesting is like the seven in like mirrors. This kills a Doom Guard.
Yeah,
It's quite like it's sort of interesting things is like a lot of these cards also are really good in the mirror. Like Vulgar Homunculus, I think, is very good in a Zoom mirror and against other
and
aggro
against
deckers.
like uh, Tempo Rogue and Shaman
It's very good against
and
any board centric deck.
Hunter. Yeah,
Yeah,
like all of those, the current Zoo-esque decks. It's really good
a two
against.
mana 2/4 is very good. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that's all of the.
Yeah, that's all the cards that we have out at the moment. It's actually gonna be a couple hours until the next ones come out, but we will be catching up every day or second day at least
Yep.
with the cards that have come out. So keep tuned in to the Twitch channel. You can find us there and give us a follow. or give me a follow, I suppose. It's technically my channel, and Panamonia does have his own one as well. So go ahead and give him a follow too. You can find him by
Oh,
just searching Panamonia. Um, and also like and subscribe on YouTube, because we'll be uploading them all there pretty much immediately. And you can also find us on Twitter. If you can't wait for the video and want to ask us as the cards revealed what we think of it, you can tweet at us. Panamonia is at PanamoniaZA with a 3 and a 0, because that's not how most humans would spell Panamonia if they just heard this. And myself at dib_gaming on Twitter. So you can find us there. Yeah, and let us know your thoughts. So maybe you have some other crazy thoughts about the cards we've discussed today. So let us know about those. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in.
bye.
Cheerio.